Alright guys, so we're going to go ahead and get started on our first project, and as I said in the intro, this is going to be a really simple project. Basically because we have to set everything up, we're going to establish some guidelines and the folder structure, things like that. And it will be simple, but not too simple where you're not going to learn anything. Alright, we are going to build a plugin that's going to allow us to add our Facebook profile link at the end of the articles or at the end of the posts, and we're also going to make a settings area where we can actually add our Facebook link instead of hard coding it. We'll be able to enable and disable it, and we'll be able to change the color of the link as well. Alright, so really simple, but necessary, necessary to get everything in place and figure out what kind of file structure we're going to use and so forth. Alright, so in order to run WordPress, you need to have some kind of server. I would suggest an Apache server, and if you don't have your own server or web host, I would suggest using XAMPP or XAMPP. It gives you an Apache server, it gives you PHP, MySQL, right on your local machine. Alright, now I'm not going to go through the installation. It's really self-explanatory. If you go to apachefriends.org, you can download XAMPP and just go through the installation. And it's available for Windows, Linux, and Mac. Alright, once you get that set up, you'll have your, let me just show you real quick. Oops. You'll have in your C drive a XAMPP folder, and then htdocs, and this is where your server is. Okay, all these folders and files will be accessible through the browser at localhost. Alright, so what we're going to do is let's create a new folder, and we'll call this My WordPress. Alright, and this is probably going to be the WordPress installation that we use through the entire thing. I'm obviously not going to reinstall WordPress at the beginning of every project. That would be kind of senseless. Alright, so let's go ahead and go to wordpress.org and go click on Download WordPress. 4.4 is the version we'll be using. Okay, we'll click Download. Now, while that's downloading, we're going to go ahead and create a database. Alright, so if you do have XAMPP or you have a Linux server, PHP MyAdmin should be available. That's a database management tool. Alright, so if we go to localhost PHP MyAdmin and go to databases, we're going to create one called My WordPress, and that should be all we have to do right now. Alright, so let's open up the zip file that we downloaded from wordpress.org, and what we're gonna do is move everything into the My WordPress folder. Okay, we want to grab everything. Alright, so now we have everything uploaded to htdocs/mywordpress. Now what I'm going to do is I'm using Sublime Text as my text editor, and obviously you're free to use whatever you'd like, but I'm going to add it as a project. I'm going to add the folder. Alright, so I'm going to go to C, and then XAMPP, htdocs, and then My WordPress. Alright, so now I have all the files located over here in the sidebar. Alright, and what we need to do is we need to edit a file. It's this wp-config sample.php. Alright, so what we need to do is rename this. Alright, and we're going to rename it. We're just going to remove the dash sample, so it should be wp-config.php. Alright, and then we're going to fill in a couple things here. The database name is going to go right here. So this is going to be, in my case, My WordPress. The username is going to be your database username, which mine is root, and then your password, which mine is that. Alright, and I wouldn't suggest using that password on a live site. Now this right here, you're going to want to generate your keys, and there's actually, where is it? There's a link that you can go to just generate a secure link, or I'm sorry, keys. Where is it? Let me search for it. Okay, so what this did is it took us to a page and it just created random keys for us. If I reload, it's always going to be different. It's totally random, so it's safe to use. So we're going to copy all that, and I'm going to have to make this a little wider. Alright, we're just going to replace all that, just like that. Alright, now for your database table prefix, you can change this if you'd like, and I would suggest it if you're using, if you're on a live site, but I'm just going to keep it as WP underscore. Alright, so I'm going to save this file and close it, and then we're going to go to localhost / my WordPress. Alright, so this is now going to take us to the WordPress installation. So you can choose your language and then just some basic information. Site title, we'll just call it my WordPress. Username, we'll say admin. Password, I don't need a safe password. This is just on my local machine. If you do use a weak password, you just have to confirm that you want to use that, and then your email, and you can choose if you want your site to be visible on search engines or not. I'm just going to leave it unchecked. Alright, so we should be able to now log in. Oops. Alright, so now we're in our back end, and I'm going to make this a little wider too because I want to be able to see the titles here. We can go ahead and look at the front end. Alright, so by default we're using the 2016 template, which is probably what we're going to use in most of the projects. There may be instances where we need to use a new theme, but for now we're just going to keep this just the default look and feel and everything like that. The goal isn't to really make the site look good or make themes or anything like that. We want to build functional plugins, and I think this is a good environment to display how they work. Alright, what I do want to do is just create a couple posts just so we have something to work with. Alright, so first off we can create, actually I guess we don't need categories. Well, yeah, we'll create a couple. Alright, we'll say category 1, create a slug. Category 2. And we'll create one more. Alright, so we get 3 categories. Now we'll go into, let's go into posts. Let's add a new one. Okay, we'll say sample post 1, and let's just get some sample content. Alright, so I'm going to just generate a couple paragraphs and copy that. And let's see, where am I? Go back here and let's paste that in. If we look at the text, I actually want to just make sure we have paragraph tags. Alright, and let's put one more paragraph. Alright, and we're going to want to have a read more link, so we're going to go at the end of this paragraph and just go to insert read more tag, and let's choose a category, featured image, let's get a featured image. Alright, so I'm just going to get, let's say, a picture of an iPhone. So we'll pretend that this is like a tech blog or something like that. Alright, so we'll get images,